Hi. Classical philosophy, in its spiritual aspect, is practically the same as classical and original theosophy. Theosophy can be translated as divine wisdom, and philosophy can be translated as love for wisdom. So both things are rather similar in its fundamental contents. Now, let me ask you, what do you mean when you say you are studying philosophy or studying theosophy? What do I mean when I say that I have been studying theosophy for so many years? Do I mean that I can use the words in a way that I consider efficient? That is not theosophy, and it is not philosophy. According to Elena Blavatsky, theosophist is he who theosophy does. So, theosophy is not a mere description of the world, a description of the planet, a description of human life, and so on, as most students of theosophy, I suspect, think. Theosophy is a way of living as much as it is a description of the world. A correct description of the world, separated from the corresponding behavior, the corresponding attitude, and the corresponding goals in one's personal life, is void of meaning, or worse than that, because it may mean pure hypocrisy and falsehood and egocentrism disguised as philosophy. So we must open our eyes and see where we are perhaps surrounded by egocentrism, disguising itself as philosophy or as theosophy, and where you can find an approach to theosophy or to philosophy that is not based on mere words and discourses, speeches, and ideologies separated from individual practice. If you want to control politically a section of the theosophical movement or mystical movements, then you have to create a ritual, a rite, and control people in terms of who belongs to the ritual and who belongs to the system of obedience to a corporation and who does not. Those who obey to a corporation must repeat that discourse. They don't need to live according to that. They need to obey to the discipline of that informal kind of church, where people have to obey more than understand, and understand on an intellectual level much more than, and instead of living in accordance with the teachings. So, the test to our knowledge is the test of its verticality. One must stimulate in ourselves and build in ourselves an antakarana, which means the vertical line of identification and cooperation between different states of consciousness in ourselves. The interchange of energies between the highest in us, the pure spirit in us, and the spiritual ideas in us, and then spiritual action on the mental plane, spiritual action on the emotional plane, and spiritual action on the physical plane, the way I eat, the way I sleep, the way I walk, the way I think while walking on the streets, and so on. There is nothing outside of Theosophy. There is nothing that should not be seen from the theosophical point of view in your life. If you are interested in Theosophy or philosophy from an existential point of view, from a practical point of view, from a point of view that includes as a central element direct experience. Otherwise, you will be perhaps an elegant parrot and will be struggling for attention and for a better space, wider space, with other parrots. We may have a federation of theosophical parrots, but you will not be seeking for real philosophy or wisdom and love for wisdom. We will not be seeking for real wisdom. The verticality of knowledge means practicing it, means loving it, means understanding it, means working for it, means dying for your ignorance out of love for wisdom. Because in the process, you have to die every day and be born every day to a new aspect of wisdom. This is perhaps the quickest way to reincarnation that we can imagine. Dying each day, dying each moment sometimes, to the old in you, and being the new human being new every day, having left behind a little bit of your own ignorance.